So welcome everybody to Training Tip Tuesday. I'm Courtney Cooper and I'm a 5-star event rider as well as the owner of C-Square Farm and a partner in Excel Star Sport Horses. And today we're going to be talking about sort of the last preps that I have for Excel Star Time to Shine, who is a 6-year-old, and our River Star, who is a 7-year-old that we bred. And both of these young horses will be going to Ocala to do the 2-star long. They've both jumped around, I don't know, half a dozen to 8 preliminary horse trials. They've done one 2-star short, which they handled very well. David was 13th and River was 14th out of 63 at Stableview. They both had sort of one little green mistake here and there, which kept them out of top ribbons. But we think that they're prepared to go to the 2 long. So the first thing I want to tell people is they're 6 and 7. They're young horses. And so this is a piece of the puzzle. And this is where we start their careers. And so I will learn a lot about these horses by the end of this weekend. And so the best thing I can do is to get them there prepared and fit, but not overly prepared or overly fit or fatigued. So what I really try to do in my last week with schooling them is to make sure that I just keep the rust off of them, that they have a nice gallop around. This actually was done at Stableview, and it was done a week ago. And basically, we did some mound work. I have not been to the Ocala property myself to run a competition, but I have a feeling that they have several man-made hills based on video I've seen. And so I wanted to make sure that we did some slopes. Also wanted to do some corners and some bending lines. Also wanted to get their feet wet and wanted to jump a ditch and jump some skinnies. And so that's sort of what I worked on with both the horses. But I would tell you that if I put all of the video together, of all of their jumping work, I probably only jumped them a grand total of 9 or 10 minutes with some pretty significant breaks. So the way I started with them on the cross country, and you can go back and look at it, is we just start with a very small fence, and we start with being able to gallop up to it and to put them close and to put them a little farther away, but to not break the rhythm, and so that the horses learn how to balance themselves a little bit and take care of themselves. And then what we'll do is we'll put 4 or 5 fences together, slightly bigger fences, sort of novice training. And then what we'll do is we'll put some training preliminary fences, keeping in mind the preliminary horses, and sort of go at a more realistic pace. After we do that, then I'll put together sort of a cluster of fences. And so the first series you saw River jump through was a corner combination, and we did it both off the left and the right, a bending corner combination. So that was really good for both of them, jumping a couple of things on mounds, so they got to use their feet a little bit differently. And then we went over to the coffin, and you can see we did coffin combination with some skinnies, with another brush on a mound, and that was to get them all moving, okay? The last little bit that we did here, and you can see this is River, and I think we might also, this is David, and we might also have River doing this, is we just set to do a few galloping fences. One of the things that I am working on still with David is being able to gallop him down to fences without having to adjust him so much. I still find that I want to do a little bit too much adjusting. And so he's had some time faults. And so this weekend I'll be trying to encourage him to gallop and to be brave and not have to take back so much. But he's getting the idea. You can see here's a 1-stride narrow to narrow combination. He handled that really pretty well. And then I let him gallop up. And then we just do this coop with some brush on a mound into the water, which is a pretty good exercise, I think, for the preliminaries horses. And he handles that really, really well. So that I did with both horses, and they both handled it exceptionally well, which was super. So that was really my last cross-country school, and that happened 10 days before their last cross-country. They galloped on Sunday, and that'll be the last thing they do gallop-wise before they go next Saturday. So show jumping school we did on Saturday just because of the weather and the availability of my coach. And so what we worked a lot on was after we warmed up, we did some small fences and oxers, and again, varying pace and varying distances, was putting together some coursework. And here you see David. The fences are about 105 to 110. And what we're working on is being able to lengthen and to shorten, to be able to turn, all the while having me be very quiet with my hands and with my body and with my lower leg. I'm no different than a lot of people that I have to continue to work on lots of different things. And so I've really been working on carrying my hands and trying to keep my leg more still and have the horses work off of my leg. So when we did that course, everything was pretty good, except for we kind of came through this double and I flopped on his neck. And so we worked on getting me a little bit taller and then having him come back to me a little bit quicker in the 6th stride. It really walks as a 5, but we wanted to see could we, get him so that he would balance back and do the 6. Now keep in mind that David is 6. So we've put the jumps up to sort of 1.15 meters, 1.20 meters. And so we just started him over a vertical just to have him jump the higher heights. And now we're going to jump a more difficult course at a higher height. And so this posed its own problems for David, and we had to work through some issues. But again, the idea is that we wanted to create a challenge for him without overdoing it. And you can see there, I sort of got there long. I lost my body position. I made a sloppy turn. I lost my body position again. I got yelled at to be better. And so here we are trying to be better. And so, again, it's as much for me as for him to keep the tuning up, because it's very easy to be feeling like you're doing really well and you want to be feeling like you're prepared. But it's always nice to have someone on the ground who can sort of say to you, look, hold your body, make sure you use your eyes, you carry your hand and you keep your leg tight, because it's just very easy to fall into old habits. And all of us work really, really hard. And so it's always nice to have an educated ground person to help you to say, this is what you need to work on. So you saw there he had the pole, and then he was quite long down that line and sort of didn't pay attention. So we're going to come through the turn a little bit differently. And he picks up on that a little bit better. Gallop down the line, and then this turn comes awfully quick for a 6-year-old at 1.20 meters. And so again, it was just something we needed to work through. And then here we do a flowing 7 across the middle, which was nice. And so again, that idea that we did the 4 to the 5, which was quite tight and bending, and then we let him go across the 7. And then here we're going to come back, have him just sit down and jump the vertical, and then make a pretty economical turn back to the double. And then again, this walks as a 5, but we decided we wanted to do the 6 so that he got patient. And he handled that actually pretty well. We were pretty happy with him overall. Now here's River, and you can, if you had sound, you'd know that it was raining. And so we were trying to sort of finish up with him a little bit. And so you didn't see the first round, unfortunately. But here's the second round. And again, sort of the same idea. We put a vertical up to work on it. And my coach wasn't very happy with how I jumped it the first time. She thought I sat and pressed, which I did. And so she had me repeat it again. And so here we go, jumping the same course that you saw me jump with David the second time. And River was fantastic. Really jumped super well, was well within himself. It's amazing the difference that a year will make in a horse's education in terms of just how they can come along. I would say River is a little more sensitive in his mouth, and so you'll see occasionally that he brings his head back at me, and that's something that we continue to work on, and that I continue to need to be soft with him and subtle, and so that's something I'm working with. But overall, the idea again is, can you bend to the left? Can you bend to the right? Can you make your stride shorter? Can you make your stride longer? Can you do all of this and sit as quietly as possible so that your horses can react without having to worry about you? So very pleased with both of the boys, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they come through the two-star. I'm looking forward to seeing how they end up show jumping on Sunday. Neither one of them have show jumped at the end of the day, so we'll see how that all happens. Please stay tuned to our Facebook, and again, thank you for tuning in to Training Tip Tuesday, and we'll see you next week.